Now, Nessa girl, I am in here stressed the entire hell out. And everybody know when I'm stressed out, I like ice cream. I couldn't get my ass down to Haagen-Dazs and I didn't have none in the refrigerator. So I had to settle for the next best thing. Keon had sent me some cake in a box. I had went down to my mailbox. And bitch, it was a FedEx box. And I was like, bitch, I ain't ordered nothing. What's this? And I opened it and it was some cakes. From Cakes by Keon. Now my greedy ass, let me tell y'all something. I ain't never been no fan of shit that's blue. But he sent me a cake in a jar called Blue Motherfucker. And y'all, when I tell y'all this shit is soft and moist. First of all, I didn't even know you could goddamn mail cake. Second of all, I don't know how long this shit been down in my mailbox, but it is moist as hell. This Blue Motherfucker is good as shit. And y'all already know, Cakes by Keon take EBT from all 50 states. So, if you fat and greedy like me, and you get stamps, and your money messed up because of the government shutdown, and you ain't got your income tax money yet, and you spent all your other money on Christmas, and your bills is backed up, go to Cakes by Keon, give him that EBT card number here running off the phone, and send you this Blue Motherfucker so good. But anyway, I'm in here eating like a bitch who husband left them because love and marriage Huntsville don't piss me the hell off. Let me put this shit down. Look. Y'all, I don't know when I'm going to start back watching The Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I don't know when I'm going to be able to get back into love and hip hop, Miami and or New York, because they both just, I'm over them both. So I decided, okay, I'm going to sit on the sofa and watch Love and Marriage Huntsville because I'm current on that. And the show don't mess around and upset me, which is a good thing. An emotion is an emotion. At least Love and Marriage Huntsville is able to get some sort of emotion out of me, and it's worth us talking about it. Now, I'm starting to realize I think the show bothers me so much because y'all know I have very non-traditional views when it comes to relationships. I just think that relationships need to step into 2019 and miss me with this shit that Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King was doing during the civil rights movement. Nevertheless, let's just jump into this last episode. Before we get into the relationships, the first person that I want to address is Kimmi. Kimmi's son is a sophomore in college and she was bothering him about a curfew. Kimmi, leave that boy the fuck alone. Let me stop cussing. Leave him alone. I had that same issue when I went away to college and came back. My mama was, she didn't put me on a curfew. She would call my phone after 1 o'clock and be like, where you at? I can't sleep until I know you in the house. Listen, Ma, I'm 800 miles away from home, and on any given night, you don't know where I am or what I'm doing, and your ass just sleep fine. Carry your ass to bed. Go to bed and stop calling my phone. And one night, I purposely came home at 6 o'clock in the morning and wouldn't answer the phone when she was calling me. I bet her ass ain't lose no more sleep over me not being home. God rest her soul. Leave that boy alone. You giving him a curfew is not steeped in logic. It isn't. And that's the other thing that troubles me about the African American community and relationships within the African American community, y'all. In 2019, we've got to stop conducting ourselves in ways that are not steeped in logic and rationale. This whole, you know, you got a curfew, and if you don't want to have a curfew, you can have a mortgage, and it stems from the proverbial black parent saying, you ain't finna be coming in my house any old time of night. Honestly and truthfully, when you really dissected parents, what is wrong with coming in the house, as they say, any old time of night? What the hell is the difference between unlocking the door at 2 o'clock and unlocking the door at 4? What is the difference? I'm not understanding. Where and what is the perceived disrespect of coming in the house late if they're just out having fun? You know, and people call it disrespectful, but it's only disrespectful because that's the way your mama raised you and your grandma told you. But when we really dissect it, what is disrespectful about it if he's an adult? I don't get it. I know some of y'all gonna attack me for not being a parent and claim I can't understand, and I'm here to tell you I don't have to be a parent to understand logic. Nevertheless, I just wanted to get that one off real quick. Now, Kimmi, I got an attitude with you. Let me back up and say, much like Married to Medicine, with Dr. Simone and Cecil r/were my favorite couple, Kimmi and Maurice by far are my favorite couple on this show, and Kimmi is my favorite. I like everything about Kimmi. She's mature, she's articulate, she's seasoned, she makes sense. Everything about Kimmi, I like. Kimmi, what I did not like is how you pseudo picked a fight with Maurice in front of the kids about the camp situation, and it also involved your stepson's mom. You basically picked a fight in front of your stepmom saying, oh, your stepson saying, oh, when I bring it up, it's a problem. But when his mama do it, you just go right along with it, and you did that in front of him. That made me cringe just a little bit, mama, and I suggest you watch that. The comeback group meets to have another meeting, and Martell is adamant about getting $85 per square foot for the houses. And he wants that to be uncontested with no challenge. And I'm here to let you know, Martell, you full of shit. Like, people don't even buy car insurance without comparison shopping. So it is unrealistic for you to just expect these people to just go along with any old number you throw out there, and on the strength of you being honest. Bitch, you don't cheated on your wife. You don't laid it low and spread it wide throughout the whole damn Huntsville. So you've already proven down at your core you are not a very honest person. And baby, if you can't be honest with your damn wife for 10 years, how the hell we expect you to be honest with us? I'll wait. You might be cute, but you not that goddamn cute to sucker me out my damn money. And I'm gonna tell you something. Tish, Marceau, Kimmi, and Maurice, y'all better than me, because I'd have let that bitch walk, okay? And one thing I do like about Mel was like, I want to close the deal, and I like what she did being a wife. She said, okay, I recognize my husband is about to hold steadfast on this and blow this whole deal. Let me step in, use my wifely abilities and this cute southern charm and see if we can come to some sort of compromise. And she was suggested $80 per square foot, despite the fact that Marceau said that he knew somebody who could do it for $69 a square foot. Now, I'll say this. I don't know much about construction. I don't know what to go for per square foot or whatever the case may be. But I am well-breast enough in negotiations to know that when Marceau threw that $69 a square foot out, that probably was Ray Ray's construction. And that probably was a very, very, very low bid where no money would be made. They caved in at 80. Quiet as this kept, 75 was the number that I had in my head, and I would have been willing to go $78. But nevertheless, I'm glad to see they was able to come through. And I feel them. Bitch, you ain't finna get rich off us. Like, I understand that you doing the work, but you ain't finna eat off us. This ain't a normal gig out here. This is a charity gig. Now, I recognize that you do need to make, nobody likes to work for free, okay? I recognize you need to make something, but you ain't finna make, you ain't finna go buy your family no new car. No, my goddamn money. I don't blame them, but I'm glad y'all was able to get it right. And Tisha had her red marker. The only thing she was missing was her red lipstick on. But that controlling ass husband probably wouldn't have let her wear it. Nevertheless, Martell calling Tisha sweetheart. First and foremost, Martell, I totally agree with Maurice. You broke code bringing Mel to the golfing thing. But I'm glad she fit in. She didn't cause no trouble, and the boys seemed to get over it. Then they had the conversation about you calling Marceau's wife sweetheart. Now, here's the funny thing that perplexed me about that situation. Independent of you showing a lack of respect for Tish, I just thought you would have had a little more respect for Marceau, because of all the men at that table, Marceau looked like the one who will whoop a motherfucker ass in a heartbeat. You know what I'm saying? And Martell, you a pretty boy. You don't look like you want them problems, bruh. You don't look like you want them problems. And I think the way Marceau looked at you and sized you up and called you sweetheart, you had one more sweetheart rolled off your tongue and you was going to be his bitch. And I felt that all in my spirit and down to my soul. Nevertheless, it bothers me, and you can tell Martell grew up the popular kid, and he was the it kid, and he was the ladies' man in school, and he was like, I'm not saying he was the quarterback, but he had the je ne sais quoi, the popularity and the whatever of the star quarterback at a high school, because he carries himself like one of those entitled popular kids that are used to getting their way. And whenever somebody calls this brother out, he thinks he can smile through it and flex his chest and show his shoulders or whatever, and that shit just don't fly. You cute, but you not that cute, bro. And so you call the lady sweetheart. They trying to explain to you how it's condescending, basically telling you that the sky is blue, and you're insisting that the sky is red. Then you said, I'll meet you halfway. The first sweetheart was not condescending, but the second one was. Quiet as a skeleton. If I was Marcel, I'd have punched the shit out of your ass right in there under that damn pavilion, because you not gonna look me in my face and blatantly admit that you were intentionally condescending to my wife. That's not what you about to do. And I'm sorry. At your age, at y'all's age, there's got to be some accountability and some self-awareness. And I refuse to believe a man as intelligent as you are lacks that much self-awareness that you don't know that you was being condescending, calling that lady sweetheart down to the mid. Sweetheart, yeah, reducing her to a child, reducing her to a feeble mind, somebody who can't think, and you got to coddle her. That was not cool, and those were your intentions. Here is where I fell in love with Kimmi. I love a person who can respectfully and effectively articulate what they are feeling and thinking. And when they were in that fit, without bitching and moaning and pointing fingers and pointing blame, when they were in that therapy session and Kimmi was just explaining how she loves her stepson and she welcomes him in her home, you know, but on the flip side of things, I question, you know, what's going on here, and I feel bad because I gave up my life being a single mom, and now, you know, when I get my child off to college, essentially I'm starting over again, not completely from the beginning, but midway through with a middle schooler, I'm assuming. And the expectation with me being the woman is that I would be doing, you know, majority of the parenting, and it just feels unfair, you know. And because I missed so much, I want to be able to do things, and I'm glad that she was able to articulate that, because if not, it will turn into resentment. And let me tell you guys a bit of personal information about myself and my family, and how I know caring for people during a time in which you feel you should not have to fosters a lot of resentment. My grandmother on my father's side recently died. Grandma Katie been dead now, I think like 2 years maybe. And long story short, my grandmother was poor. My dad grew up poor in Mississippi. When my dad moved to Florida and married my stepmom, shortly thereafter, my grandmother's house burned down in Mississippi. Lightning struck a tree, house burned down. And she moved to Miami and moved in with my dad, his new wife, and my sister at the time, which was basically a newborn. And my father took care of her financially. She had a room, although she was our live-in grandma. My father took care of her from like 1987 until she died up 2 years ago. She was his responsibility and liability. Fast forward till today, and this is sad to say, the moment my grandmother died, my father became a different person. He actually became a better person, a more loving person, and a more fun person to be around. Long story short, he felt that taking care of his mother was his responsibility, and he felt guilty for harboring some sort of resentment, but it's a natural human feeling, and having to care for her for so long left him emotionally unavailable to us. You know what I'm saying? And it's unfortunate, but like the day she died, he just became like this nice, cool, fun person to be around. And we as a family all these years did not know how much carrying that weight affected his ability to be emotionally available to us. So I told y'all a bit of my personal business to illustrate the fact that yes, as people, as parents, as family members, we take on this responsibility, but subconsciously it does weigh on us. And it can, if gone unchecked, make you bitter, resentful, emotionally unavailable, mad all the time, depressed, and a slew of other negative emotions. So Maurice, hurry up and get through school, or hurry up and put provisions in place that don't confine Kimmi to another 13-year, 10-year prison sentence, for lack of a better term. I also like Maurice because he was like, you know, thanks to the counselor, to therapy, I hear you and I understand, and I'm going to maneuver some things around so we can make this do what it do. Again, I wish Martell would take on some of what Mo is not Martell. Well, Martell can use it too, but Marceau. I wish Marceau was more receptive to what Tish was feeling and not being so anal retentive about sticking to this plan that, quite frankly, suits his agenda. Because I can assure you, if the plan was no longer fitting his agenda and he needed to make an amendment to the plan, he would do it with no problems. Sex store shopping. That was very interesting. I love the fact, even though Kimmi is the most seasoned one in the group, that she's fun and very liberal in that department. And Kimmi, you look good, bitch. Mama, you look good. Keep doing what you're doing. Tish, get you some lingerie, but quiet as it's kept, Marceau looked like he like to fuck you like Mister from Color Purple. Just you lay there like a dead fish and he just do it missionary style and go to sleep. And he looked like it's just all about him getting what he need. I mean, he already said, you know, those are your kids. You just happen to be the father. He strikes me as a type that'll probably get an attitude if you look like you enjoying sex too much. I just don't feature Marceau. Nevertheless, we move on to Maurice talking with his son. That was another good scene. We don't see a lot of black men doing that hardcore, emotional parenting. We see them being disciplinarians. We see them being financiers. But we don't see them doing the hands-on, nitty-gritty parenting, talking to their kids. And it just made me proud as a black man to see another black man doing that on a platform as large as this show on the OWN network. Marceau was not feeling Tish coming home with that lingerie baby. And it's just, Marceau, why are you so prudish? Like, why are you so rigid and prudish? And I ask people with that personality type, is it fun being you? And that's a legitimate question. Is it fun being you? At any rate, on to the Holts. The Holts getting ready for their surprise 10-year anniversary dinner. And they start talking about, you know, what their marriage has been like. Have they been happy, the ups and downs? And Martell's like, yeah, you know, it's been good, the ups and downs. Has it been good for you? And Mel's like, no. And he gets annoyed and tries to smile and laugh his way through the whole thing. And then she asks him, and by the way, where were you at last night? And he's like, huh? And then he start that slick, you know, slick, city slicker, shiesty shit. And here's the thing about Martell that I don't like. Having his way is more important than making his wife happy. And that's what leads me to believe that he is still out there running the streets and doing shit he ain't got no business doing. Tyler Perry said in a play one time, if you tell somebody something bothers you and they don't at least try to change, they don't care about you. And the fact that Martell prioritizes his gym time above his feelings or above quelling his wife's uneasiness and her fears is very telling. It says a lot. It says he does not care. You know what I'm saying? Then he got the nerve to get mad when she continues to spin that knife in his back about different things that's going on in his ways. Now, they get down to the damn dinner, and Tish brings up working. I'm going to tell you, Tish, you know, you do something that I don't particularly like, but I understand it. You get a battery in your back when you get an A-man corner. You know what I'm saying? Which is also very telling, because you articulated very well at the table how you were feeling about not being able to be in the workforce, wanting to work, wanting to contribute. But when you had the opportunity to do that at home with your husband, you were a little tongue-tied, which says to me and suggests that you are not comfortable speaking freely with your husband when you guys are alone for fear of either his reaction or upsetting him, or you may just not be a confrontational person at heart. But it's infuriating to your mate, and this is for male or female, when we've pseudo had this conversation at home, then you wait until you get around public to talk about our business in front of other people. Like they say, telling our business or showing your ass in front of folks. Tish, you showed your ass in front of folks, and it's also confusing to the mate, because it's like, well, where is this coming from? Because when we were at home, you didn't articulate any of this. So I just hope that the group, Tish's Village, we online, can build her up to a point where she's willing to stand up to Marceau and just get some of her needs, wants, and desires met, and not be at the thumb of that man. And here's the funny thing about it is, Tish is really at his mercy, because he's the one who brings in the money and he's the one who controls the finances. And I said to a homegirl of mine the other day, I will never let a motherfucker put me in a position where I can't leave their ass freely. I would never let somebody put me in a mental, emotional, and moreover, a financial situation where I can't walk away from their ass easily if I need to. And that's the situation Tish is in. I wouldn't be surprised if Tish don't know their net worth, and don't know how much money in the accounts, and don't know how much money that's being brought in. Tish and Marceau's relationship strikes me as one of those types where just as long as the lights come on when she flipped the switch, no questions is asked about the finances, and they could have $90,000, $100 in debt right about now, and she wouldn't know. None of the difference. Last but not least, Mel and Marceau are asked by Carlos, where do you guys see yourself in 10 years? And Mel says, Martell and Mel are asked by Carlos, where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? And Martell says, hopefully with $1 billion business. While Mel says, hopefully in a better space, hopefully happy. And, you know, and she's very hesitant with her answers. Again, it was another jab at her husband. She could have answered it nice, polite, Southern Belle pageant-like. But she chose to take that opportunity to throw another passive-aggressive jab at her husband, which is her prerogative. Because again, you can't do wrong to somebody then tell them by when they need to get over it, how they need to conduct themselves. It takes years to get through something like that, especially when trust is broken. But your husband, Martell, being the spoiled, entitled bitch that he is, couldn't take it, couldn't stand in it like a man in the situation he created. This woman that's spitting this rhetoric and that's being passive aggressive and taking jabs at you, you created her. You did that. So now you have to eat it for however long she sees fit. And the quickest way to stop having to eat her shit is to give in and give her what she wants. Stop going to the gym late at night. Simple fix. But you want to have your cake and eat it too. And eat Felicia pussy. And eat Teresa fish fillet. And every damn thing else. Bitch, you ain't fucking fooling me. I can smell you a mile away. Nessa girl, y'all be sure to like and subscribe. And I guess I'll keep Love and Marriage Huntsville in a rotation, since it allows for us to be able to have more evolved, greater conversation about relationships and configurations that work in households. And I'll call you later. Bye.